Streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music are ruining the next generation of music artists. In this video, I want to discuss how they've been able to do that. Over the years, Spotify and Apple Music have given us access to a wide variety of musical artists. Not only are you able to listen to your favorites, but you can also search for and listen to underground and more niche artists, essentially people that are making music in their closets and trying to catch a big break. These new artists can use these streaming services in addition to social media like on YouTube and TikTok to try and actually create a platform for themselves, which in concept is a great thing. However, this is a little bit of a double-edged sword, and one of its edges is extremely problematic. I stumbled across this tweet, and it really started to make me think about the hierarchy and structure of hip-hop currently. Now, rightly or wrongly, this guy got clowned pretty hard on social media, probably because he seems to be taking shots at a lot of popular artists, but the sentiment of where are the new superstars really stuck out to me, because at the end of the day, it's kind of true. When I think of heavy hitters in rap right now, the first ones I can think of are Drake, Kendrick, Cole, 21 Savage, and Tyler the Creator. Now, there's obviously nothing wrong with any of them, but this should be a little bit more of an exhaustive list for how much music we have access to. A lot of these artists have been making music for almost 10 plus years, so where's the representation from younger generations? Well, there isn't really any outright standouts, I would say. The problem that's affecting the new age and modern artists are streaming services and social media. They've developed this fast food mentality amongst consumers where if you don't like one thing a person produces, you can move on from it without any penalty, therefore making it a lot harder for artists to be able to gain and maintain success. There is no longer a margin for error within music, and that's hugely problematic. Some artists naturally do fall off, and that's been a reality since the dawn of man. But with increased access to music from Spotify and Apple Music, this process almost becomes way too common. Back in the Stone Ages before streaming services, when you paid for music, you were stuck with it for better or for worse. If you paid for an album, you wouldn't just skip past the songs you didn't like immediately, because you'd feel a sense of urgency to actually give it a chance, otherwise you just wasted your money. Even if you didn't like the song on the first listen, you're more likely to listen to it again because you've made somewhat of an investment into the song itself. This investment creates attachment to both the music and the artist. And with Spotify and Apple Music, there's no similar level of investment that you're making into the artist and music, only to the service itself. And thus, you don't feel the same level of attachment to artists. If you don't like an album 5 minutes in, you can drop it and listen to a new project without any concern or hassle. Therefore, if you put out a bad quality project as an artist, your ability to recover is next to impossible, since people will just move on to something new and move right past you. People are no longer required to give projects time, as they can just move on to a project that they like immediately, instead of waiting and letting projects simmer. Take, for example, Chance the Rapper. Now, I love Chance, as many people do, but everyone knows the big day sent him on a downward spiral that he hasn't really been able to recover from. I personally have been really enjoying the music he's been releasing recently, but his numbers really haven't improved all that much, and aren't really indicative of an artist that dominated 2016, even despite the upgrade in quality on his newer stuff. Now, many people are going to try and justify that fact by saying that he hasn't released a full album yet, or a mixtape, or anything like that. Let's be honest with ourselves here. If you aren't willing to listen to one single from Chance the Rapper, you aren't going to start flocking to him once he drops an album. It feels like people have moved on from him entirely, and it's really sad for me to see. If you still maintain the position, though, that a new album or project would fix everything for Chance, let's look at Roddy Ricch then. I personally thought Roddy was going to be the next young superstar within hip-hop, as indicated from the success of Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, as well as the box hitting #1 on the Billboard chart. His follow-up project, though, Live Life Fast, released in December of 2021, received really mixed reviews due to how different it sounded from Excuse Me for Being Antisocial. Roddy then tried to remedy this situation by releasing the mixtape Feed the Streets 3 in November of 2022, and a lot of this music on that mixtape feels a lot more similar to Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, and an overall upgrade from Live Life Fast. But unfortunately for Roddy, he once again failed to fully recapture the popularity that he had back in 2019, and I don't think outside of his core fan base that there has been much outcry about that. To do a bit of forecasting, I'm going to say that Lil Baby is going to be the next one on this list of dominant figures that just end up fading away. I know some people would say that he is currently a heavy hitter for the young generation, but considering the recent conversations on social media about him, I'm 50-50 on that. I'm going to give this disclaimer now. I'm solely basing this take off of opinions I've seen online, and I'm not a Lil Baby mega fan or anything, although I do enjoy some of his music. It seems to me, though, that his last album, It's Only Me, quality wasn't really that well received amongst audiences, and it also didn't do that well in comparison to his other projects stream-wise. As of this recording, his recent feature on the song Fully Loaded off of Trippie Redd's new album didn't go down great either, with a lot of people seeming to clown his verse on the song. Now, I could be completely wrong and Baby could completely 180 the entire situation, but as we often see, the next best thing is always around the corner, and people don't really seem to have the patience anymore for low quality music. His next album will be very telling of whether or not he could secure his status as a major figure in hip-hop for the next generation, but only time will tell. While Spotify and Apple Music have made it easier for artists to reach stardom, they have also made it equally difficult to maintain it. Some may consider this phenomenon a positive, since it'll make artists focused on solely releasing high-quality music. I disagree. My concern is that it will make artists more hyper-paranoid about creating a project that isn't different from what they previously created, as they'll be nervous about losing their status and attention and popularity amongst their fan base. It'll make it so that they'll just keep pumping out the same thing over and over again, not really progressing their creativity, but doing what's popular. In all honesty, I'm kinda uncertain about the remedy for this situation. Since we are the main consumers of this music, I hope we can all rally behind our favorite artists to continue to encourage them to push themselves creatively. At the end of the day though, this is all just my opinion.